In this video, we will be discussing about Cisco ACI micro segmentation feature. Micro segmentation moves the endpoint from the regular EPG to the logical security zone. So here in this example, I have application A. For that, I have configured EPGA, BDA, and all the trial web, app, and DB are into that regular EPG, and the endpoint .10, .20, and .3 are running into the EPGA. By default, the communication between web to app, app to DB, web to DB are allowed. Now I want to pour web into the separate security zone, app into the separate security zone, and database into the security zone. So what I will do, I configure the micro segmentation EPG for web and same for the app and database. So once I move all the endpoint of the web into the microsegmented GPG web, the communication between web to the app and web to the DP would be stopped. And if I want to do the communication between web to app with the desired traffic, I would configure the contract one and allow only the desired traffic. Same way for the app to the database. Now how you can do the filtering? So there are two types of the attribute that you can apply to the microsegmentation EPG. One is network based attribute and second is a VM based attribute. So in the network based attribute, either you can do the filtering using the IP or the MAC. And the VM based attribute, there are various VM based attribute available like VMM domain, operating system, hypervisor, data center, VM identifier, VM name, unique domain name, custom attribute, and tag. So take an example of the operating system. I have a certain VM which in having the Linux operating system and the certain VM into the Windows operating system. And both are part of the regular APG. So communication between the VM which are part of the Linux operating system and the VM having the Windows operating system would allowed. But I want to put the VMs having the Linux into the separate security zone and same for the Windows VM. Okay. So if there is an issue happen, so say if some bug hit into the Windows operating system, so it won't affect to the VM. Those are into the Linux operating system. So I would put VM having the Linux into the microsegmentation EPG Linux, and same way for the VMs having the Windows operating system into the Windows microsegmentation. Sorry, Windows microsegmentation EPG. So I'll go to the configuration. Here I have configured the data center one as a tenant. Then I have configured application A and into the EPG A. Okay. Now you need to make sure before configuring the micro segmentation EPG, you have a regular EPG and BD configured. Without that, you cannot configure the micro segmentation EPG. So that is the must, and the subnet has to be defined into the BD. And all the micro segmentation EPG should be part of that PD. Okay, so I have configured. Uh, uh, okay, so let me do one thing. Let me delete one of the micro segmentation EPG and configure again. So I'll configure the micro segmentation EPG app. I call the BD, which I call into the EPG A. Now I'll call the VMM domain. Okay. Now when I integrate ACI with the vCenter, the deployment immediacy should be immediate. Visualization immediacy also should be immediate. Update, finished. Now for the filtering, you need to go to the microsegment attribute. There are two type. Uh, okay, so basically you can do the filtering using the match any or match all. When you configure match all the attribute has to be matched. So say the one attribute I defined Mac. Second attribute I define using VM name. Okay, so both has to be match of that endpoint. Then only the endpoint would be moved from regular EPG to the microsegment and EPG. Otherwise, it won't. So I'll go with the match any. I'll configure based on the IP, and for the app IP I have a 10.0.0.20, which is the endpoint IP of the app. Submit. You can also define the various attributes which we discuss, like based on the VMF domain, operating system, data center, VM name, like that. Okay. Now, if you want to do the communication between app to web and web to database, you need to configure the contract. So you need to go to the contract, and then say for the communication between app to DB, you configure the contract C2, and then configure as a consumer on the app microsegmented CPG and provider into the database microsegmentation APG. Thank you for watching this video.